Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. It is the aftermath, and it's the aftermath of a 15-10 win that was desperately needed by the New England Patriots. I did not want to cover an 0-3 team this week. I did not want to launch into the how much longer will Robert Kraft let this go on. I did not want to continue what would amount to a Bill Belichick coaching death watch. I didn't. Okay? No fun. I want to talk about this year, not next year, and what happens next year. And we get to do that. Why? Because in a 16-punt afternoon, the New England Patriots were able to choke the life out of the New York Jets, causing them to go 2 for 14 on third down. There was one stray drive where Zach Wilson went off and got his team down the field and into the end zone. Things were a little hairy at the end on that Hail Mary, which I think they should have defended the inbounder, as it were. Just send somebody extra, not a three-man rush. You're just asking Zach Wilson to hit a half-court shot on you. Don't do that. You know that he'll run if you rushed him. He'd do something stupid like that. So don't do that with a bad player. Give him a free shot at the green from 230 yards. That was a golf reference unnecessarily. But it's great to me, if you're a Patriots fan or if you like this team or cover this team even, that they were able to extract a win. Now, was this a moral loss? A good friend of mine asked me, Jay, after the game. He said, if the Eagles win was a moral victory, was this a moral loss? And I get what you're saying. It should not come down to a heave at the end of the game. Why did it come down to that heave? Let me enumerate. First, there was no PI call on the Demario Douglas throw downfield before the half, so the Patriots weren't staked to a good situation. Going into halftime, I didn't like the sneak that they tried on 3rd and 2 before the half, and they had a 57-yard field goal that Ryland snapped directly into the range. Either way, it's 10-3 going into the break. You're in a good spot. You get a field goal. It's 13-3, and that seemed insurmountable. But then that spate of inefficiency arose. There was a false start on Trent Brown, a false start on Michael Wenu. There was an illegal block on on Juju Smith-Schuster, who clearly doesn't understand that the days of being able to face your own end zone and deliver crackback blocks has long since been passed. That put him in a 1st and 20. Even, I'll mention something else here too. There was a Cole Strange hold that put the Patriots in 2nd and 16 that ended up with them having a Chad Ryland field goal attempt from 48 yards that he missed on a blustery day. Good thing Chad Ryland went 2 for 4. Bottom line is the Patriots still had some mistakes. They were able to escape them. They were able to dodge the bullets. These were penalty mistakes, though, this week. Fortunately, the Patriots are past that. We're going to bring Phil in. He's going to give us a tenor of the locker room because that's what's important. All this stuff about Philly and moral wins, moral victories, and how they looked against Miami. And do we look at this team differently now that they allowed 24 to Miami and Miami just scored 70? As Ted Johnson said in the postgame, doesn't really matter what we're saying. The Patriots right now feel good about themselves. Before we bring in Phil, let's hear from Bill Belichick because he actually looked like a guy who was feeling good about himself after this win.
Good win for us today down here. It's always tough. Jets are, a tough team, do a good job. Defense is really, really good. And, had a good running game. I thought we played a pretty good run defense against them. And we're able to run the ball better than we have, first couple of weeks. In the end, some, key plays in the fourth quarter that, fortunately, we were able to make a couple more than they were. But, it's kind of been like this 3 weeks in a row for us. So good to come out on the, good end of it.
There's our man in New York, our man in Gotham, Phil Perry, the senator, joins us. What was the tenor in the locker room like, Phil, after this win?
Relief. That's what Juju Smith-Schuster told me after the fact. He said something earlier this week about how we work so hard and the fact that we don't get the results we're looking for really hurts. So to get it, even if it's close at the end, even if it's against a team that is quarterbacked by the worst quarterback in football.
Oh, come on.
Is he not?
I
mean, not all of football, not like including like Pop Warner football, but the professional football here played in these United States. I would say he's the worst starter.
All right.
They are relieved. They're relieved. And I think there's some sense of hope too moving forward, Tom, that they are starting to show that they can lean into this identity that they would like to have, which is as a tough football team. Run the ball, stop the run, cover kicks. They've got those last two things covered pretty well. But the running the football thing had not yet come this season. I thought it was there today. They frequently ran it, that's for sure. But they also ran it pretty effectively. They were right at 4 yards per carry with their two running backs today.
Didn't bother me either that they hadn't run it well, because looking at the context of why. You're not going to bang your head against the wall against the Eagles when you have two rookies out there. And then last week's the first time you've got the full complement of offensive linemen who've never worked together in 2023. So I get that. Didn't bug me as much. But yeah, good running game identity, good aggressive hitting too. I think aggressive hitting and violence and making the other team wary of you has gone away a little bit from the Patriots defense in recent years. And I see more of it now that Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar and a few other players are and Judon, number of guys. Anyway, I like the identity that's developing of toughness. Just need to be more cleanliness. And I think, Phil, that's what I want to ask you about next. Was it closer than necessary? And I already ran through. It's 13-3, and then there's a spate of penalties. And Cole Strange's penalty backed them out into a field goal attempt of 48 yards when it went to 2nd and 16. That spate of penalties and ineffectiveness still falls under the controllable mistake umbrella. Was this game closer than necessary?
Probably because of some of those drives that you mentioned, some real, self-inflicted wounds again between Cole Strange's hold. How about the drive, Tom, where they racked up somehow 3 penalties in one drive? Yeah, very rarely see that.
Going at a good clip.
Just an unbelievable block. Not blocking the back, but an illegal, what is the term? What's the terminology?
Illegal crackback.
Crackback, yeah. Sprinting back towards your goal line and laying somebody out. So he told me, Juju Smith-Schuster told me after the game, the reason he did that was because before the game, he was watching Hines Ward blocking highlights to get him in sort of the right frame of mind. Former Steelers receiver, Hines Ward, I'm sure he has a lot of respect for him. Great blocker at that receiver position. He's watching Hines Ward blocking highlights before a game where he knows he's probably going to have to block a bunch. The problem is the rules have changed quite a bit since Hines Ward's been in the game.
And the rules changed specifically because of Hines Ward. He broke Keith Rivers' jaw in 2008 on a crackback block against the Cincinnati Bengals. Just almost sawed the man's head off. And that really was the impetus behind starting to erase those blocks. But now the rule is simply you can't be facing your own end zone, running backwards towards your own end zone and picking people off. Be that as it may.
True story, though. I mean, it's kind of remarkable, isn't it?
It's so funny. There's got to be a warning on that thing. How do they not know the rules? How do they not know the rules? I don't get paid shit to play NFL football, and I know these rules inside and out. I'm not making any money. How good is this defense, Phil? Just contextually, 70 points from Miami. They held the Eagles to 1 touchdown drive. They did what they did today. 1 drive that was the best drive of the season in many ways that they had on them, but they've now held down 3 number 1 receivers and good number 2s to a degree. How good are they, man? How good? You tell me.
They're really good. They're really, really good. I've been telling you since before the season started that I think it's going to be an elite group. And I say that today, not necessarily because of what they did today. Again, because the quarterback is tough. I mean, he's just in a bad way. He's not good. But what the Dolphins did to the Broncos, I think really has to make you open your eyes and say, my goodness, are they going to, what kind of rate are they going to be just tearing through defenses this year? And the Patriots held, the best athlete in football to 40 yards receiving and held him to 24 points. That's pretty good. That might end up looking like one of their best games of the year defensively. if the Dolphins keep going like this. So I look more towards Miami and I say, that's how you know this defense is pretty good. But today, Tom, they did what they were supposed to do, right? You knew they were going to run the football. The Jets were. You knew it was just going to be that kind of day. And they allow 1.7 yards per rush. That's a tough group. Good linebacker play, good defensive line play.
Excellent job against the run, just to roll through it. Breece Hall, 12 for 18. Dalvin Cook, who we spent an inordinate amount of time pining over on all of our television programs, not here on this pod. But we
felt like a waste of time, huh?
It's just anybody out there, Patriots have to be in on. Anyway, Dalvin Cook, 8 for 18 with a long of 5. Zach Wilson, 1 for 1. And Nikolai Bowden, 1 for 1. I don't know if his name. Oh, he was a touchdown. I was going to get a coffee because I knew they were going to score. Be that as it may. Held them down good. The Patriots offensive bogged down in the second half. It's weird because Mac was so good on so many third down throws. The 3rd and 15 to Devontae Parker. There was a crosser, I think, to Bourne that Bourne turned into an 18-yard gain. Couple of nice ones. Demario Douglas had a nice one. But then there were some third down throws, really beginning with the first one of the game to Devontae Parker, who had great leverage. Play was perfectly dialed up on that 3rd and 3, Philly. You remember? You're squinting.
I'm looking at my my notes here.
It would ended the first drive.
On the first drive, he did hit one to to Parker.
But before the field goal,
yes,
Parker
3rd and 3, corner route.
Yeah, it's like Tony Romo said it looked like Parker wasn't running full speed and wasn't. I don't know. I can't tell what his full speed is.
I know. I was just going to say the same thing. How can you tell? How can you tell? I don't know. I have in my notes, I'm looking at him here. Receiver, ? Quarterback, ? Who's in the wrong there?
Like,
I mean, he had a step on his defender.
On his defender.
So the quarterback's supposed to hit him, right? But is he also expecting the guy to run something faster than a 4.6? I don't know.
I would if I'm in the National Football League throwing on my number 1 receiver, which is not going to happen anytime in the near future. But Philly, there was that misconnection. There was also the misconnections with Juju on a third down. I think there was one with Kendrick Bourne as well.
There was with Bourne. There was with Pop Douglas. There was what looked like an underthrow. It sounds like Romo was calling it a bad route on the broadcast. I don't know how he knew that. I would love to hear his explanation. I'm in the press box. I didn't hear
it. I don't know why. That was a terrible underthrow, it seemed to me. And then that PI pissed me off because you can't bop a guy in the head. You can't bop.
The non-PI. They should have called that one. I made the mistake of saying it looked like, because we also don't get replays in the Jets press box here. So I said it looks like he got smashed in the face on that one. I got a million replies. Looked like.
Yeah.
Question mark, exclamation point. Question mark, exclamation point. Yeah, he obviously got hit. That should have been called.
Yeah, that's just the context of the assessments that we make. No one gives a shit where we are and what we're seeing.
Can I just give you a couple? Can I give you a couple explanations on the misfires to Smith-Schuster?
Yes.
So Smith-Schuster, there were 2 targets late in the game, deep down the field, both misses. They both looked like miscommunications to me. They were that far off. Almost like the Bourne one. The Bourne one looked like it was thrown over an outside shoulder. He was expecting inside shoulder. What Smith-Schuster told me after the fact was he felt like the conditions really played a big role in that. They ended up just being pure, not miscommunications, but pure misfires because the wind took the football a certain way. What I also heard after the fact was that the last attempt to Smith-Schuster, it was 3rd and 3. It looked like it was kind of down the seam. Another one that missed and didn't look like they were on the same page. I was told basically what happened was the Jets played a pretty tricky little coverage there, and they showed man. They ended up switching responsibilities in the secondary, so it looked more like zone very late. And so rather than throw into a pretty well thought out defensive plan for that particular play and really test a tight window, that was almost a throwaway. It was sort of my guy will get it or nobody will get it.
Got it.
And if he gets it, great. If not, we live to fight another day, and good luck to the Jets try to drive the field and win the game because it's a real crap day out here and they're not going to be able to do that. So I think that one ended up, Tom, probably being a good decision by
And
Mac Jones.
Max said something like that in the post game. Now that you bring that up, and I didn't know that it was related to anything, but it might have been related to that throws. There's a lot of throws. He said that you just take care of the ball and move on. So,
what do you give Mac a grade? What kind of grade do you give Mac Jones today?
That's what I was getting to. I'm going to call a quick 20 though, because I have to think. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/NSBO and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Mass. Hope is here. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com, gamblinghelpline.ma.org, or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234. Okay, we're back to live action, folks. Before we get to Mac's grade, I want to ask you, who's this go-to guy on third down? Somebody pissing you off there?
No, there's a gigantic processor, computer, amazing looking sort of machine just flipped on while you were talking, and it spooked me a little bit, but I'm okay.
Oh. I'd hate to see it send a tentacle out at you and just suck your brain out. Listen, Phil, who is the Patriots' third down go-to guy? We could say Hunter Henry, but I need somebody personally, if I'm going to look at a team and say it's a real threat, I need somebody who's a mismatch menace. Hunter Henry is a capable tight end, but he is above average, but not brilliant the way an Edelman or a Gronkowski or a James White or an Amendola could be. He doesn't have one trait or skill that stands out. Who does? When are they going to settle on it? Is it already time to look at Juju Smith-Schuster and say, not going to be a Jacoby Myers clone?
Oh, I'm comfortable saying that right now. I felt pretty comfortable saying that in the offseason. The fit, the health, what
we need is data, Phil. I've gotten the data. Now I agree with you.
I think the data was.
Look at the glasses.
In there, if you're willing.
Look at the glasses. I needed the data.
The guy it should be is Pop Douglas, because I do think he has a skill set that stands out in that way. I think he is perfect for this offense right now, where you still have some questions, although good job by the offensive line. No sacks against a really good defensive line. Now, a lot of that is Mac Jones getting the ball out, 2.6 seconds on average today. That is pretty quick. But for an offense where you might not trust everyone at the moment in terms of pass protection, where you're best suited throwing the ball short, if it's third and long, I'd be more comfortable throwing it short to Pop Douglas and hoping he can get the rest for me after the fact than almost any other option that you have right now.
Agreed.
Ramondre Stevenson probably should be high up the list, Tom. Do we forget about him? Is it because of the drops? Because he hasn't done a ton in the passing game through 3 weeks here? Why are we leaving him out of the conversation? Can he not be a big-bodied James White at times for this team?
I don't know. He's a very, very, very good player. Very good player. But when we look at the recent games, okay? Ridiculous decision against the Raiders last year towards the end. And the next week, there's a fumble against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the season ends. And now we're back at it again, and he's not running that great, but he's not getting great holes open for him either. And then, today, a drop and then another play where he doesn't seem to whip it around. I'd like to see him kick it back in a little bit. That's all. He had a run in the first week with like a triple axle. He's great. He's a great player. But I need him to take it from 6.3 on the Ramondre scale and get it up to around 8.8 pretty soon, because he's only playing about 6.3 of volume.
He could be your third down guy, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what about Ty Montgomery? Get his ass out there. Make him do something.
You love you some Ty Montgomery.
I like Ty Montgomery, Travaris Cadet, Dion Lewis, Jeff Demps, anybody like that. You asked me what Mac's grade for today was. I'm going to say it's a B minus, because I hated those third down misfires. But he also took care of the ball. I thought he managed the clock pretty well in the end of half situation, but you got to hit that third down shit. You got to do it for us, okay, out there, because, we're waiting, saps like us. Hey, Mac is really good, and he can't convert a 4-minute drive. They get the ball with 5:42 left, and we all, spend the next 20 minutes of real time wondering what we're going to be talking about on television, a nut-crushing loss or a narrow win that didn't need to be that narrow. So banana with a bad wheel. B minus.
Yeah, he's gotten, for me, through 2 weeks, he was B minus against the Eagles. He was B against the Dolphins. And I think he might be right back there again. I think he's probably B minus, C plus, somewhere in there. I mean, they did only score 15 points, Tom. And not all of this is his fault, but they had 19 third downs. You'd love to see the team actually get a first down on first or second down. Like, that's okay. That's allowed.
I would have liked to see. Would you have liked to see a little bit more first down throwing, or was that not that's not the point today?
I think it's not the point today, and I think that's why his grade is a little bit higher than the numbers would indicate it should be. When you go 15 for 29 for 200 something yards and 58 of those come because the Jets just let American Pharaoh Brown just gallop through the secondary for a touchdown. You like what I did there? You see that?
I did.
Yeah. That's not a great day, but it wasn't a good day to throw it, and you don't turn it over. And again, you don't take any sacks against a really good defense. This was a take care of the football and get out of Jersey with a W kind of day, and he was able to do that.
Yeah, look, not comparing, but just using it as a measuring stick. Two different things. Tom Brady had days like this too. Just get the hell out. Speaking of Tom Brady, this has nothing to do with the greatest player of all time because he's retired. Sauce Gardner said that Mac Jones hit him in the helmet after that dust up. Here's Sauce with his complaint about Mac after the third down sneak when Jerome Whitehead, don't know if his name's Jerome, I think that guy played in the NBA, tried to get up under Mac's helmet. Mac got all hot and bothered and tried to ram through after the play and rammed into the wrong address. Wrong room, rammed into CJ Mosley, got promptly spiked, and then upon getting up, was brushing past Sauce Gardner and looked like he might have hit him in the helmet. Sauce?
That's probably the first time that ever happened to me. So I got tackled, and he reached his hand up to try to get me to help him up, and I just moved his hand out the way. So then he get up, he just come up to me like, "Good job." But while he's saying that, he hit me in my private part. You know what I mean? Man. So it's like I didn't react how I really wanted to, but that was just the reaction that came after that. But I definitely wasn't expecting that.
Mac was asked about that, and he pleaded no contendere. No contest. I mean, he's doing what he acted like he didn't know that he hit private parts of Sauce Gardner. But if you watch the replay, which we will not be able to show you here, Mac does kind of skulk away after doing it. He gets pushed and then he kind of skulks away. So Sauce gets the first opportunity to get his side of the story out there, which will quickly be swallowed and disseminated as fact. And, Sauce is an easy target. Mac's an easy target. The book is out on Dirty Ass Mac. Phil? I probably have more intel on this than you do because you're in the locker room and shit.
I didn't
you know nothing about this?
Anything. No, I know I was there for Mac Jones getting the question, but that was the first I had heard of it.
You haven't seen Sauce's allegations yet?
I did. So I have since seen that. And it does look like there might have been a Mitch Kupchak situation happening around midfield there. as Dan Patrick would say. So what does that do for his rep? Is he developing a rep here? He's got a little bit of a rep, it seems.
Rep has been developed. He's only augmenting now. And again, I mean, he has to be asked directly, did you whack him in the penis?
He was asked about a low blow.
Yeah, but I don't think that he either tried to duck the conversation or didn't seem to get it. You know, at some point we're going to have to.
He said, I don't think so.
Sounds like a job for Greg. From who does him? Mego? And Mego, yeah, they'll get him in the Jones and Mego. It's up to them. That'll be great. They can't let him off the hook. They got to press him. Find out. See a serial cup checker. All right, moving on from Mac's proclivities. Phil, let's talk about this week. It's the Dallas Cowboys, the Patriots on the road to see them. And then is it the Saints afterwards?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no layup there now either, huh?
Well, Derek Carr might be hurt, although he said he avoided disaster, he thinks, after the fact.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a one-man disaster himself sometimes. Block me, Derek. You probably already did. It remains difficult.
To get blocked by Derek Carr?
Cowboys, the stiffest, sorry, Mac, challenge of the week. Of the season so far.
Well, I don't know. They're about to lose to the Arizona Cardinals as we're taping this, Tom. So who knows what they are? They're down Trevon Diggs in the secondary. I don't know what else might be ailing them at this point, but I'm not going to say it's a completely unwinnable game, but they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. The offensive line is going to be stressed immensely with that pass rush. And so it's going to really stress everything that has ailed the Patriots really through 3 weeks.
We're going to explore this matchup in depth with Micah Parsons, who Phil and I both thought might have been the plum of the 2021 draft. Patriots didn't have a shot at him, but man, he would have been a difference maker. We spent a lot of time on Micah. Patriots have also spent a lot of time on Dak Prescott in previous games and done pretty well. So we're going to get into all of it. Thank you for joining us for the aftermath. We out.